Copy reference 91st in Huron Street, possibly selling drugs in the area. Break 4 Tom 72 for cover. The only additional information they have is Hispanic male across the street from the medical center. He bailed from the vehicle.
A drug case turned foot chase.
All right, we're emergent. Pecos coming up to 92nd.
Never generated much attention.
Jake, where's your car at, bud?
When it happened in 2017, that despite the fact that 8 minutes into it, a man died.
421, I need medical code 3 parties turned unresponsive.
I copy, they're en route.
We still don't know what truly happened.
Avina DeLuna was 19 when her dad, Alex Gutierrez, stopped breathing under a pile of officers.
Did you have any hope that maybe there'd be a real investigation here?
Yes.
Was there?
No.
Only 2 officers wore body cameras that night. One turned his on so late it only recorded CPR. The other turned his on.
Make sure you're hot on your cam.
Even later, acts the local district attorney called inexcusable. When firefighters arrived, one seemed confused.
I don't think he had his
A month later, and after initially refusing to make a statement, Thornton officers recalled hearing a pop as one pulled Gutierrez's arm back.
We had many questions.
Avina and Avina's mom knew Alex had drugs in his system, knew he was no saint, yet they still wanted answers. If you listen closely to one of the radio calls, you can hear the fight.
Yeah, medical center.
And you can hear this.
Southwest of Huron and Parkway.
I can tell that somebody was on him.
Not that it mattered, because once the autopsy report concluded this, the case all but disappeared.
What do you know about excited delirium?
I don't know very much about it. It didn't make sense. I was confused as to what it was.
Excited delirium, a term marked by bizarre behavior, violence, unexpected physical strength, and hyperthermia, or high body temperature. It's also, according to this 2009 report, potentially fatal in and of itself. There's just one problem.
This term should be eradicated. It should not be used.
People like Dr. Joy Carter-Rush say the only people who tend to die from it tend to die next to law enforcement officers.
And serves as an excuse for aggressive or excessive and prolonged restraint that leads to deaths.
The country's first black chief pathologist spent 33 years investigating thousands of deaths.
Honestly, I don't believe in using the term excited delirium. I consider it a wastebasket term. You just dump it in there instead of doing your work.
She believes the symptoms of so-called excited delirium mirror the symptoms of people who believe they might die.
How would you feel being held down and you cannot breathe?
Our ongoing investigation has identified plenty of deaths tied to excited delirium, 130 since 2010. People like Antonio May in Georgia, who died in restraints after being tased and pepper sprayed. Elijah McClain here in Colorado. He died after a police chokehold and a decision to give him ketamine. Eric Parsa in Louisiana. He was a teenager with autism who died after a 300-pound deputy sat on his back for 9 minutes.
Well, they said that he died of excited delirium syndrome.
When Zach Moffett died after a 3-day stint in the Summit County Jail.
And complications of excited delirium syndrome.
Cassandra Higgins, the mother of his 2 children, says she too was confused by the coroner's opinion.
Did you know what that was at the time?
I did not know what excited delirium syndrome was.
Only later, when Summit County settled for $3.5 million, did she finally get the full story.
Alcohol withdrawal killed Zach Moffett, not excited delirium.
Denver attorney David Lane says jail staff let Moffett, a severe alcoholic, suffer for days inside this cell.
He's hallucinating, he's talking to imaginary people, he's vomiting. They ignored his obvious serious medical needs.
He says, had they not sued, this autopsy would have excused days' worth of bad decisions.
Excited delirium seems to be the way that the cops get out of liability.
130 deaths tied to excited delirium, either through autopsies, law enforcement statements, or defense court filings. Nearly half were held prone or face down before they died. More than half received jolts from stun guns or tasers. And more than half had an identified mental illness. Surveillance video shows Paul Egley wearing only boxer shorts when Adams County deputies held him down in 2017. His cause of death, excited delirium.
And it's not a term that we use in this office or that I've used for some time.
El Paso County Coroner Dr. Leon Kelly says his office will not use the term when anyone dies in law enforcement custody, and offer this frank admission as to what happens when other coroners' offices use the term.
Once you say excited delirium, that means it's the end of the story. There's nothing else to look at, move along, right? It entirely points the cause and the circumstances of death at the individual who died.
We were, when he passed away, working on our relationship.
As the next of kin, it was Avina DeLuna's job to sign her name to get the coroner's office to release her dad's body.
Wondering, how am I going to come up with the money? How am I going to bury my dad? Is this what he would want?
Years later, she still wonders why her dad's death never generated the kind of attention she believed it deserved. Attention she hopes her words might now finally deliver.
Because I want people to hear my dad's story. I want them to know what happened to my dad.